Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Sexual Awakening podcast. My name is Meir Shavalsky, and I'll be your host today. We have here Moshe Weisz joining us from Williamsburg, which I just found out before in our first round. So Moshe, you could introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. It'll be my honor. So my name is Moshe. Welcome. Grew up in Williamsburg. Wow, it's kind of interesting. I never spoke about this. It's let's just say I'm grateful for everything that took place in my life. In life we have different. There's different. We have the steps, and then we have the landing, and every now and then we get to a landing. But ultimately, it's about walking the steps, walking up the stairs, and when there's an opportunity and you have a moment and you recognize that you're on the landing, you have a moment of reflection, to reflect and to see, to get a glimpse of the picture, of what's going on. And so coming from Williamsburg was a long journey, was a long, tough journey. I guess I chose it that way. Let's skip that unless you want to launch in with some questions.
No, all right. Well, you're here today with us, so I want to know, you listened to my first podcast, and what got you here to come with us today? What was it that that you're here somehow? And what was that?
So, thank you. It's there is a I listened to the clip. At first, it's like a topic that it's not something that looked something that I want to dive into.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone, as soon as they hear sex, it's like, oh, no, I don't, stay away. It's not comfortable. So, thank you.
So, but then once I listened to it, it was pretty, I'm like, this is actually interesting. And it's, the truth is that it's not only interesting, it's very holy. It's very special. And I don't want to sound like a rabbi. We're regular guys. We're from the street.
Sure.
And it's not, it's holy, it's pure. And, because it's easy to say that, it's easy to say no rather than saying yes. But really coming from a place of experiencing life in the physical, experiencing life, taking it, feeling it, not by in isolation, but by really being exposed out there.
Right.
And ultimately, if that happens, that means that this is the nature of your flow, of your energy, of your godly manifestation. So, intimacy is, let's just say it like this. If we're receiving, we're our body's like a satellite dish full of sensors, and it feels, and it picks up all types of vibrations, and we respond through that physical and emotional. That intimacy is one of the most intense experience, a godly experience, because if everything is Him communicating in every other way, when I say God means, let's just start with higher conscience, something more than what the eye meets.
Yeah. I love how you said that, that's the way I say it is like the energy, the moving, that physical aspect. I actually Googled the word, I want to know Google the word sexual, and I'm going to read the exact definition of it, just because a lot of people, I think, again, they hear that word and it's like, get me out of here, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's so sexual. The dictionary definition is relating to the instincts, psychological processes and activities connected with physical attraction or intimate physical contact between individuals. So it's relating to the instincts. So the way I look at that is, the attraction of people. That's just what it is. There's energies that are constantly moving in the world. making this world go round, who talks to who does what to what. And then there's the energy of, the attraction of the physical aspect of it. And that's really what the whole sexual thing is, the attraction of the energy in the world in a physical aspect.
Sure, cool. But also
Yeah.
you're creating you're creating something new in every aspect.
Yeah.
In physical and in spiritual aspect.
For sure. It's you're having both there. Sometimes we feel that's just the physical aspect, and there's also a spiritual that you're connecting to as well with that.
So everything is created from a connection. So intimacy is not just creating; it's creating. Everything is created from intimacy. New ideas. If the intimacy was not 100% aligned, then there is a corrupt file that's being created from that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to be. It's very sacred because you're actually creating.
Yeah.
On every level.
So something we were actually talking about before we started, and we brought up the thing about consent. It's like, can you, asking a person, can you kiss them? Can you touch them? And yeah, so what's your take on that? Like, how do you, because that's not a thing that really people talk about. And you said, you want to make sure it's all consensual, so you have that sacred space there.
So as we were discussing before, that it's some people are like, don't ask me,
right?
And some are like, it's a little uncomfortable to talk about it. Let's just get into it. But really, what I feel is that by talking about this, not necessarily is there an answer, but it raises an awareness.
Right.
And people start talking about a topic that before that didn't really have so much expression. Now there's more of expression. So we can talk about, like, what is it, what's the shame about it, and not what the shame is, like, around how it should be approached. Some people, it's a modest thing. Some people keep it very, it's private, it's personal.
Sure.
That's the way it should be.
Exactly.
It's a special moment. It's the wave that, just to discuss it, to bring awareness to something that has been deeply abused.
Yeah, and that's really the reason of this podcast in the first place, why I wanted to talk about it. I don't know if I have the answers for all these things, but I figured, talk about it, bring awareness, so people could start carrying this conversation, and they could be aware, and it's not like, oh, taboo. It's like, oh, this is talked about in the world. The intimacy, the sex, how it works, what we do, because, so many people, I feel, whether they're dating or, with friends, and they don't know where to go. They really don't, there's no guidance in it.
So I did some work, some meditation on it, tracing it as to why, what's going on within us that we can't get a handle on it. So what happens is that the child, something is created, a spark is created. Many sparks are created when there's intimacy between masculine and feminine, husband and wife. Now, one of those sparks is a human, a person coming in. It's a consciousness. It's that type of energy that goes then in from the father into the mother, which she's called Bina, and she has the wisdom, the understanding to create a child within her, to give birth to something like that. Now, from the minute this moment happens, this explosion happens, which is the highest climax, especially if it is with the right intention, that child is, let's just say, from 1 to 10. 10 is the highest voltage of connection and love, and compassion. The child is a 10. Okay, let's just go with that. It's a 10. Then right thereafter, there is nervousness, there is worry about how we're gonna do what, financial and all that stuff, or whatever people they're worried about, whatever their worry is expressed, and what type of letters they're chosen to express that worry, because there's just a worry in the world, and you can choose to tap out of it or tap into it, listen to the news and tap into it, or get out of it and raise the vibration. So then there's layers. Different layers are being positive layers. Different layers. The father says something, mother is nervous or positive.
Right.
Now, once the child comes out, he's let's just say 50-50, which is not. This world is 90-10, 90 dark and 10% light. The minute it comes out, there's all this commotion and all this pushing, shoving, lights, screaming. So right away, you're triggering the negative flow of that.
You're saying when it's in the womb, so then it's calm. There's like peace.
It's peace, but it's being built.
Yeah.
It's being built from the surrounding, from everything going on around it, right? So if there's a good environment in the house, music and chill, so that he receives a chilling incubator because it's recording, and it's starting to record from a place before it has expression in letters, which means that it's even if one is abused as a child, his father screamed at him. Okay, 20 years later, it's like my father screamed at me. Okay, we have letters how to unlock that lock. But if there's a certain layer of feeling emotion that you don't even have letters for, it's just a feeling. And by the time we go into the world of expression, in such physical expression, the phones and all that, I'm not even aware of these layers that are driving me, and I'm in a repetitive cycle over and over again throughout life.
And you don't even know about that because it's not like something you experience.
Oh, you're just in pain, confused.
Yeah. Something that I've been reading about a lot is that it's not just in when you were consumed. It's not when you're conceived, but it was also even from generations from before. There's trauma that comes in, and that's trauma you can't even track, and you don't even know why, and till you or when you tap into yourself and ready to release that and go into that space, and that space isn't a physical space. That's a spiritual space to be able to go back there. And to release the trauma from previous generations. And I think that's what a lot of new people are seeing, that there is that trauma from previous generations, and trying to break that cycle.
Yeah, you have to be lucky to want to go on a journey.
Yeah,
finding self. And that's where we're heading, okay? And if you're chosen, which means that you are a mavakish, somebody, a searcher, and you mean it, and the purer the intention, the purer you're going to find.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, you say chosen, and I always go, is it chosen? Is it, how do people, I always ask myself, how do I, come to this place that I want to search for myself? How did that happen? I was chosen. It was just because I decided to do that. Like, who makes up this stuff?
So, as you repeated chosen, I'm like, okay, let's measure the words here. What is it really? Why? Okay. Fine, very good. So there's the yin-yang, there's the lighter energy and the darker energy. But ultimately, it's a split. So as you are doing something good,
right,
so there's somebody else that's going lower the other end. Now, if that energy gets cleared, he also it's a balance.
Right.
There's a breakthrough. If not, then he could be you'll find a friend that's over there. Let's just say it's just an image of energetic of what's happening. So who's chosen? The same analogy you use generationally, yes. Not analogy, it's real. It's like, I like to use this, that you have a fist. If you hold your fist for 10 minutes tight, and then you tell me open, can you hold it like this for 10 minutes?
Do this one. Yeah.
10 minutes, and then I would tell you open up your pinky finger 1 second. But if you hold your hand for 10 minutes and your muscle is tight, you won't feel it. But you're not gonna hold it for 10 minutes. So now, but once it's pointed out, easily are you gonna find the finger that you need? I'm like, can you open this one? Once I point to it, you can open it. So we've been holding like this for 10 years, 20, and 500, 1,000 generational pain that you're not even aware of. And people keep asking, I'm doing work, but why isn't it changing? Like this change, but the real, where I want it to count,
right?
Financials. I want to be in flow.
Right. So why am I not getting there?
Beautiful. So this is still connected to the intimacy.
Yes.
We're building a case.
Exactly.
Okay. So why isn't it getting there? Is it because, let's go to Reb Nachman, he talks about it very openly, the koich hamadama, the imaginary koich, which is my imagination. The imagination is key. That's power. That's everything. Because the more I can imagine, now that I know that I can also create the power of my words, I have the koyach to have the power to create the freedom. I have choice. Choice means the animal doesn't have choice; he just is.
Right.
But we have choice that we can. Choice does not mean that I'm going to choose the outcome. You can't choose the outcome. The outcome has been signed already. We're heading there. Choice means that we have this. It's a computer that's not limited to the knowledge. It just keeps expanding. And you have permission to expand.
Yeah.
We have that chip, which is creator chip, and it's really a high level clearance to have that. Now, but if so, I can manifest. I can go and I can be not 100% healed and be very successful in business because I'm expressing and I'm creating that type of connection, that type of manifestation. But then in other areas, it's not happening because when I need to go deeper, then my words don't count anymore. My body is projecting. You can't fake it, which is like when the father comes home after a day work, and the child does not have to be told to stay away. He knows that right now he's nervous. He didn't say he can smile.
Right.
And what's even more confusing is if we smile and inside my body is nervous, and now the child gets a mixed download because they read on we read here and you read emotional. Everything reads. It's a constant. Yes. So now there's these layers that we said throughout intimacy and birth that have been layered before you had language, before you had expression. And those areas you're not aware of, and then you keep hitting the same pothole the same time of the year over and over again. You can't see it like, oh, I changed here, but I'm still back in the same thing. I don't know why I'm doing all this work. I give up. Well, this is what's going to that's the chosen.
Right.
That, you know, you're forced to look inward because you can't blame anybody anymore because you're trapped. You're being real with yourself. You're like, okay.
Taking responsibility.
Taking responsibility. Exactly. And that's what cracks that layer that has no expression. It's just, it comes from a place of a broken heart, not depressed, broken heart. Like, I've done everything. Like, why is this not working out for me? And asking for compassion from the thing that is holding us anyways, and it's full of compassion. So once you connect from that place, because your body can be with compassion now, you're allowing yourself to feel, because you cleared that level of resistance and negativity, you will get a very compassionate response.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. You know, and it's like keeping connecting these two things because, you know, it's like on one hand you have, you know, intimacy, sex, that people just like this physical aspect, and now you're going with this whole spiritual side of it, and it's like connecting those two things. And that's really, I think, the key here, to be able to, you know, when you could connect the spiritual with the actual physical, then you could actually, you know, have those conversations and bring awareness to it, because it's not just an act of what someone's doing. There is so much more to it behind it. And I think that's, you know, what I'm seeing in this world is like that's a way to address people with it, not just from the physical aspect.
So powerful what you're saying, but there's the one that's the clincher is bringing the two worlds together.
Yeah.
That is, if we meditate on that, let it melt your brain, which is bringing, this is my bottom world, my physical. The upper world is not a billion miles away. It's anything that's above the physical. As I'm expiring from touching this bottle with my hands, drinking the water, and then feeling the water up until I keep generating, that is...
That's a spiritual. That would be the spiritual aspect.
That would be the spiritual aspect. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it really is like I'm taking this in because like this is the journey that I'm going on right now, and because I think we're like, I know myself so programmed that they don't have connection to each other. They're really completely separate things. You have spirituality, which is, you know, I grew up, you have to pray to God, you have to, you know, do whatever you have to do the right thing and righteous, and then you have this other aspect right there. And, you know, you're really bringing it two together, which kind of makes it spiritual. So basically you're making this physical that we're taught that, it's, you know, this random thing here, and you're saying, no, this is a sacred spiritual thing here that we could, and that makes it, we could talk about it because it's spiritual. Who said, you know, we're allowed to talk about spirituality?
The word I've missed before is oneness.
That is what?
Oneness.
Oneness. That they're one.
That's the Yechida.
Yeah. Um, so we're gonna like pause here a little bit, go to a different track. So Moshe, what's the work that you've been doing? You know, your healing work that you do with people.
I was throughout my journey. There's been a lot of. Okay, let's go back once. I need to finish one more piece.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
One more piece because
Yeah.
I think it's important. Now, from that moment on, the child never receives that level of compassion
Okay.
from where he comes from, which means ground zero. This is really home to him. That moment of comfort, that moment of security and complete,
Bliss, calmness.
Yes. Oneness. And as he grows, especially in the communities where there's complete separation and separation, I'm not judging them, we're just talking.
Right.
There's a system. It is what it is. This is what works. This is what works. Okay. So as there's this expansion and time goes on, there's so much. The teenage years build so much frustration to with self because it's a tree that grows and it's being restricted from where it wants to connect with the opposite. So by the time he turns 18, 19, there's so much built up resentment from within. And now we're asking the person that caused me so much pain to be in love with. And there's so much pain because we were conceived from that moment and we never received it again. So it's not safe anymore for me to get to that place. There's always a level of that's missing. And now I'm supposed to reflect self. So it becomes a painful process.
Yeah. So
it's important to make that contact, even just to look at the opposite of in the feminine in the house, just to soften that, and so the kids are comfortable and there's room for healing.
Yeah, I love that. And before we go to what you do, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but regarding the consent, I think that's really is. It brings a certain safety, I feel, to a relationship when you ask somebody to, we say like, can you kiss, can I kiss you? You're bringing a certain safety to the relationship now. And I think like it starts even there. Like that's the first thing. You feel like you're entering into this space with this person in a safe space because you're asking, you're consenting. And I think that really builds, and you could take it from there. And then when you have that, you could build that safeness, and whether it's established into a relationship, you have kids together, whatever it is, but you're already building that safety container within each other.
Yeah. So good point. By asking permission, I want to go to the deep spirit of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's what got me. Because, we're going to discuss, like, can I ask if I should kiss you? I don't know. It's not really where I'm at. But that's exactly where I'm at.
Well, yeah, I
want saying not there, but I want to go to the other side of it. But go.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it just because it's there. Like that, the whole consent thing. It's not necessarily, it could be someone new. It could be someone not. It could be with the person for 30. Like consent's not a specific thing. It's not.
Wow.
And like a lot of people, they're like, as you were saying that, and I get it. You're like, oh, I'm married. I'm not applicable to this. Like that's kind of how I felt. And I'm like, hold on a second. Is that really the case even? And, even someone that is married for whatever, or with the person, there's still always that aspect because we're two separate people here. It's not like that person's not yours to, have or take. You guys have to communicate that. And, each, relationship they communicate, but there is still a level of consent there, I would think.
It's beautiful what you're saying. Because I never thought about it. I never thought about it that way. You expect it to happen, automatically. But how about if you just ask, is it okay now to kiss you? But yeah, it's not, that's not why. What I was saying is that's not where I'm at. Is that side of the cake? I want to go to the other side of the cake.
Okay, sure.
That's where my interest is.
Okay.
So really, by asking, "Can I kiss you?"
Yeah.
And there's this the people that are going to have the topic, they were like, I'm just uncomfortable with that question. Not uncomfortable with the topic, uncomfortable with the question. Why are you uncomfortable with the question? And I think that's when you're going into that layer, deep, like, why am I real? Nobody touched me. I have no trauma. Why am I so uncomfortable with this? What's going on? And that's where we're going to find that core disconnect. That will cut through the bottom of it, because it's an innocent question, and can I kiss you? Like, whoa, why?
Right. Why is it so like?
Why is it okay to do, but let's not talk about it?
Right.
There's something that's not being discussed there.
Right. There's something that's getting like pushed on the rug, so to speak. It's
yes.
Like, and it's like, okay, so a person when someone asks them that question, or if someone says like, what would happen if someone would ask you if you could kiss me, and kiss you, and they would be like, I don't like that, and they could be like, okay, so what is it? What don't you like? And you could start discovering and start digging deeper into yourself, what's really going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I've never thought of that, but that is great. You feel good about complete.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's a great way. So yeah, I would love to hear about the work that that you've been doing, the healing aspect. There's so many nowadays. There's so much stuff going on with healing, and everyone's trying to heal and become better, and the wounds, and what's been your experience and your approach on that.
Yeah. Thank you. So. So let's discuss what a healer is. So
yeah.
Understand what a healer is. I don't know. You can't call yourself a healer, because let's get cute with it. You're not really the healer. It's the thing coming through you, and you're just letting it flow through you.
You're the vessel.
You're the vessel.
Yep.
Fine. That's cute. Okay. But okay. So for lack of better expression, I would say we call it healer. But what does it mean? I never called myself a healer. Fine. Since it's my first live podcast. So.
Okay. On record for what you call yourself.
How we're doing? We're in the screen. Okay.
We're good. We're this. Everything's
okay. So there is a package. We get this little desire that comes out, goes through life, and is packaged by the time coming from. Where I'm coming from, I was call myself a searcher. I'm a vaker, somebody looking for the truth, trying to understand, trying to connect, looking for something deeper, something more meaningful. And it's a very painful process, because wherever you turn, you're going to find the opposite. And then the work starts, whereas fighting for what you believe in, and then first the fight is, as you're a teenager, you express that. So we are on the what is healing? What does healing mean? So as you go through life and you start taking on, so the child is born and comes into this world, and it's very innocent, and it's a perfect globe, so to speak. And you can't. It's almost not possible not to damage a child, because even if you give it a compliment, even that you give a compliment to a child, you're putting pressure on him. Now he has to do good. So throughout life, especially in the kid age, everybody touches and tampers with the light, and it's almost like putting your fingerprints on the window. Now, as you get older, and you start taking on feeling squeezed, so then you start unpackaging, loosening the muscle, becoming aware of where you were damaged. And nothing is wrong. It's just that this is how we measure light. We measure light by the logs in the wood. That's how you see the wood. That's how you see the fire. So it's really not a healing. It's just being aware, becoming aware of the parts that were put out, the fire, yes. the coals that were out, the wood that was out, becoming aware of it, bringing and noticing that that's where you want it. That's an opportunity to find growth and a breakthrough from the places that you're feeling the restriction. If it's within intimacy or whatever it is, anger or overeating and all that, to find that's where you go. You follow that. That's your door. And if you're holding space, in other words, you're conscious of that, then when you talk to people, you awaken that within them, and sometimes they may pull you in.
Right. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly it. And just to tie it back to here, what we're here for, that's what we're really here for, is to uncover this piece and to have healing for people in their sexuality and spirituality. Talking about it, bringing that awareness, and seeing, some people, they'll relate to this and they'll want to come in more and, search for themselves more. And some people maybe won't. And when maybe it'll plant the seed when the time's ready for them. So again, wow, great conversation today. Thank you so much for coming down. Really appreciate it. And yeah, excited for next time.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everyone.